Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I finished City of Glass a few days ago. Actually, I read it in 24 hours because it's the best book in at least the Mortal Instruments series. This is my favorite one, so knew I was gonna get through it fast, but I'm very surprised it only took me 24 hours. I finished it right before my birthday, and then I was busy with like birthday stuff, and I am moving into college soon for my senior year, so I've been like kind of stressed with getting stuff in order for that, so I just haven't really sat down to do this like wrap up kind of and like talk about it. I also didn't really film a lot of in between talking about City of Glass just because it was so good. There was like once I started reading it, I just kept going and didn't put it down. Just as good as I remember. In regards to this book, I pretty much remembered everything that happened. Everything I did say at the end of the previous vlog was accurate. There were like little scenes I forgot, but for the most part there was nothing really surprising in here that I was like, I can't believe I forgot about that, because I genuinely like remembered everything. A lot of stickies, obviously. Love that. Oh, you know what I did forget? I forgot the beginning sequence where Jace doesn't want Clary to go to Alicante with them, and he like tries to thwart her attempts, like tells her the wrong time that they're portaling, but then he accidentally takes Simon with him, which the Jaimin in this is so funny. So I forgot about that. I remembered that Simon was in Alicante and that he got locked up next to Hodge, who you don't know is Hodge obviously until the end. That I remembered, but there's this really nice scene between Simon and Alec where they're like walking together to the guard, because Alec thinks that Simon's gonna get like portaled back home, and he like wants to make sure that he gets there safely and stuff, but then they tell him that Magnus is gonna receive Simon on the other side, and obviously Alec trusts Magnus, so he's like okay, and then leaves him there, which is how he gets locked up. But it's a really nice scene where they're walking together and Simon is just like talking about Alec's sexuality and his relationship with Magnus, and Alec is like, geez, like does everyone know? And Simon's like, basically he's like really supportive. He like says that he knows how Alec feels about Jace because it's the same way he feels about Clary, and that he also is like friend zone, so he totally gets it, which is nice, because I guess I never really realized that they were in similar situations, both reading this the first time and watching the TV show. So reading this again, I like paid more attention to the scene. So I thought that was like a really nice scene, because Simon's like, well, Magnus seems to like you, like maybe you should call him, and Alec does actually take his advice, but I just didn't remember that scene, and I thought it was nice and refreshing that it was like Simon was the one that told him that. I think Simon and Alec's friendship is very underrated, both in the fact that they I feel like don't have a lot of scenes together, but also that no one really talks about it. So I thought that was really nice, especially considering that they are obviously going to be brother-in-laws in the future, so it's nice that they have like this nice scene now. Also in this scene, Alec's talking about like how Izzy like hits on boys for attention. Then Simon says that Izzy's only acting like that and like flirting with everyone, having all these like downworld or different boyfriends to take the attention off of Alec with their parents, so that the parents would discover that Alec's gay, which is something that I never really thought about, I guess, with Izzy's character. I never really kind of realized, but is totally in character for her and completely makes sense, and it's really sweet. So that whole exchange with Simon and Alec I really enjoyed and forgot about. Also, Alec does take Simon's advice, calls Magnus like right away, and I love that. And I love how in this book you kind of see more of Alec's struggle with his feelings and his sexuality, which you always see, but you also kind of see that from Jace's perspective too. Like you see how it has not changed their relationship, but how like kind of Jace responds to it a little bit. Like the scenes where like Alec is healing Jace, bandages him up after he punches Rowan down. He's like, you're gonna heal like a mundane because you deserve it because you're being a brat. Loved that. But you also see Jace actually heals like a mundane because Alec told him to, which is like kind of funny. So I enjoyed the whole Alec Alec and Jace relationship in the sense that you kind of see more into it and you see like how close they really are, if that makes sense. Also, forgot that Algatree was a real character and not just someone who was made up in the show. He sucks, obviously. He sucks in the show. He sucks in the books. Not really much else to say. Sebastian Verlac is great, as always. I love how all of the other characters in this book, whenever they're with Magnus or Alec, are always like being like, how's Magnus? How's Alec? How's the relationship? Like, everyone is so invested in Malik, all of the other characters, and I love that. It's so funny. You can tell like how like hurt Magnus is, where he's like, Alec refuses to acknowledge we have a relationship. So, we don't have a relationship right now. I'm over it. And you can see like how upset he is by that, which it was kind of nice to get Magnus's perspective in this book. Obviously we have the whole Sebastian and Clary thing. I love the whole, obviously not the fact that he kisses her, because that is just disturbing, but I love that he's like, oh, I wanted to meet you, like, I just knew that you'd be extraordinary. I'm like, it's just so funny because it's her brother and she doesn't know, so reading that exchange is always just really funny to me. And then she like recognizes him kind of instantly in her head, where she's like, I've had dreams about this boy like needing my help and me never being able to save him. So they actually probably really did have like that brother-sister connection where he could tell that, or she could tell that he needed her, which is sad because she can't save him, and she obviously never saved him in her dreams, but never was able to save him in real life either. And now like he's kind of damaged beyond repair, which is really sad. But I also forgot that when she sees him in the books, she instantly is like, there's something familiar about him, but she like can't put her finger on it, and she thinks she's just being ridiculous, but she's like, I remember, and she remembers the dream, but she's like, this, he looks exactly like the person in my dreams, but this must just be like a coincidence. But it is kind of interesting that she really does like something in her recognizes something in him right away. I forgot that Ragnarfell dies in this book, because I remember when I was watching the show and he dies, I was like, first of all, how did a warlock, I don't like the way they did it in the show, because I was like, how does a warlock die by like one tiny demon? I forget what type of demon it even was in the show, but I was like, it just seemed unlikely for a warlock that's that old and that powerful and survive that long to die like that. But, and he doesn't die like that in the books. In the books, Sebastian kills him, which is way more realistic and believable, because Sebastian's very powerful, and he also always has like the element of surprise, so it makes way more sense. I forgot that he died in this book too, because I remember being like, oh, I can't believe they killed him, but I'm like, I guess they killed him in the book too. So tragic. The Max situation, reading that again, it's tragic the first time you read it, but reading it again knowing that he's gonna die and like being like, this is his last scene, this is the last time he's gonna see Alec, like, so sad. And then like when he warns them about the demon towers, it's really sad. But there really was nothing they could have done, because reading it in the book, like everything happened so fast that like even if they would have believed Max when he said it, I don't know if they would have been able to do anything about it in time, or would have been able to change it. And even if Alec would have stayed, I don't know if he would have been a match for Sebastian, so there really was nothing that could have been done, really. One thing that I don't like about the whole Max situation in the books is that you only focus on like Izzy's grief, which I get because she feels guilty for it, but it's like even Jace makes like little quips where you can tell he's upset, but you never really see Alec. Like, you can see that he's upset because he goes over to his like parents when he sees Max's body and like sits with them, and he's like wearing white and mourning, obviously. But I wish they would have like showed somebody caring about Alec's mental state, because I feel like no one ever cares about Alec and his mental state, and the poor boy just needs somebody to care. Like, it would have been nice to have a scene with like maybe like Magnus and Alec talking about the whole situation, but I also think I get that it happened in the middle of battle, so they were kind of just going through the motions, and especially Alec is kind of not one to grieve like that. Like, he's just going to focus on the task at hand and what's going on. But I do kind of wish there was a scene in there for him, kind of, because you see like Jace and Clary, and then you see like Simon and Izzy, but you don't really see like Alec and Magnus with the whole situation, which I kind of wish there was a scene in there about that. Also, I thought it's so cute in this. You can really tell that like the crew has started to become a family, because Simon's in, like when Simon's in the jail cell and they're like trying to get him to frame the Lightwoods, and he's even like, well, like Izzy and Jace probably won't be punished, only Alec. Even Simon is like Simon and Alec aren't even that close, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna betray them, they're like my friends. And you can kind of just see that they're all family now, and it's so cute. And I forgot that the reason that he was down there was because Tree wanted to mess up the Lightwood's life, basically. And the fact that Simon basically endures torture so that won't happen is just very sweet. Kind of sounds fucked up saying it like that, but it's just, I forgot about that like show of loyalty. Also, love Simon. It just strengthens like the bond of all of the characters together as like a unit and a family. You kind of see Alec in this book take on more of his role as the older sibling, and as like the only adult and making the calls and everything. And I liked that, because that's one thing I really liked in the show, was that the show got more into kind of the politics of the Clave and Alec's role in that, what he has to do as a Lightwood and as the oldest. And I really liked that was something that was explored more, so I liked that there was parts of that in this book. I like that. I just love Alec, so anything that includes Alec and exploring his character more, obviously I just really enjoy. He is my favorite character in this series. I think I'm gonna do a tier ranking at some point. I don't know if tier rankings are a thing anymore, but I think I'm gonna do one anyways, and like rank my favorite characters, because even I would be curious to see what my results are gonna be for all the characters, so I might do that at some point. The scene, I totally forgot about the scene. It's like in the middle of the book. Magnus is fighting off the first of the demons that arrive, and Alex sees him and like recognizes his magic. First of all, love that. And then runs and saves his life. And then the first thing he says is like, you didn't call me back. So funny. And it's just so on brand for Alec, because he's just like such a cute little insecure baby, and I absolutely love it. It's also so relatable, because that would totally be me. Person would be like, you saved my life, and I'd be like, yeah, thanks for not calling me back. Appreciate it. Also, Magnus tells Alec that he loves him in this scene. And it's so cute, because I just love Alec. Also, I do have to give props to Jonathan, I guess. Because this is more Jonathan's. I don't know if it was Jonathan or Valentine's plan, because Jonathan/Sebastian goes kind of rogue sometimes. But I think it was Valentine, attacking and sending the demons in while the Clave is in session, so it's only like the kids and elderly that are there and know what's happening, and then they're the only ones that are left to like defend. Evil, but also genius. You cannot say that Valentine was not a good strategist. Magnus is hilarious in this book as always. There's like the scene with Consul Malachi where he's like, your wards are down. And the consul's like, really? I hadn't noticed. And Magnus is like, oh, someone should have told you. And he just like doesn't miss a beat, and he just gives no fucks about the Clave higher-ups, I don't know. Both of those words work, but he just gives no fucks about the Clave, and I absolutely love that. The Hodge death scene always kind of makes me sad. Hodge sucked, but in the end he like did try to help them, and he kind of regretted what he did. I mean, he can't regret what he did, because I feel like for him, he felt like there was no good choice. Either way, his life kind of sucked. And poor Alec is like did it really suck being part of our family that bad? But you can also see where Hodge, well, first of all, Hodge was like, no, I loved you, kid, but you were gonna leave one day. And you can totally see where Hodge is coming from, where it's like, he was gonna be stuck all alone inside. He's a prisoner. He's never gonna get to leave. Everyone else kind of got off easy, and yet he's the one that was punished. And like, yeah, okay, his life's okay now, where he's like basically helping to raise the Lightwoods, but what happens when they leave? And they were getting older. Like, Alec's already 18. Jace and Izzy aren't far behind, and Max is barely there. So I can totally understand where he's coming from. The thing I like about the villains, especially in this book, is that all of their motives, you can kind of see where they're coming from. Like, you can see where Hodge is coming from. Sebastian, it's like, you can understand that, you know, he kind of can't help it. Even Valentine, the Clave is corrupt, he's not wrong about that. So him not trusting the Clave and wanting to take matters into his own hands, you can totally see how people originally followed him before he became an extremist, because his original kind of message and his motive made total sense. But then he kind of took it too far, because you can't just like slaughter all the downworlders. They're people too. And you can kind of see where he's coming from, where he's like, it's kind of a crisis of faith, where he's like, well, the angel gave us these like runes that we burn into ourselves, but all of these other downworlders have better powers than us, and we're supposed to keep everything in order, but we have people that are like more powerful than us. How does that make sense? Why don't we have those gifts? And I can totally see his point of feeling like slightly betrayed by the angel, by being like, why is this what we get versus them? I can totally see that kind of. Obviously what he's doing is not right, but I like that when you strip down the villains in this series' motives, you can kind of see where they're coming from. Speaking of villains, I love all of the exchanges between Jace and Sebastian after you know that he's Jonathan. Like, it's so funny. Sebastian just hates Jace, and I kind of can't blame him, because, you know, Sebastian is Valentine's son, but he like low-key loves Jace more. It's like, how is that fair? And when you look at it from his perspective, like, Jace got this way better life than he did, and he gets Clary, you know. And obviously the way that Sebastian wants Clary, not okay, but I can see why he would be jealous, because he's like, well, that's my sister, and she's supposed to be on my side, but she's on your side. They just have a very interesting dynamic. Obviously the scene where Alec kisses Magnus in front of everyone, I remember that scene well. It is iconic. What else do I need to say about it? So proud of Alec for doing that. And yeah, it's just so iconic. It is the best scene in this whole book. And the whole alliance rune is just really cool, first of all. But I just love that they kind of unite, as Luke says, against a common enemy, and they have like their little battle. One thing that I don't like about this book is that they don't show Alec's reaction to Jace's death. Jace did actually die, and he was dead for like at least a few minutes, right? Because Clary looks over and he's just like dead on the ground. So until the angel brings him back. So I don't like that you never see him react to that and be like, because it's supposed to be like feeling your parabatai die is supposed to be like the worst pain ever for a shadow hunter, and they don't show Alec feeling it or even talking about it or even acknowledging it at all, which I just don't like. That's actually one thing I like how they did it in the show better, because they show like kind of Alec going through that, and it would have been way cooler to have like a scene on the battlefield where Alec like feels Jace die in the middle of the battle. Like, I just think that was kind of a missed opportunity. There's a lot of iconic lines in this. One of my favorite lines is when Jace tells Clary that he loves her. He's just like, I love you, and I'll love you until I die, and if there's a life after that, I will love you then. One of my favorite lines ever, because I just think it is just so sweet. I don't know why, I just really like that line. When I read this for the first time, I really, really shipped Clace, and I still ship Clace, but now that I'm older, I ship Malik more than Clace, difficult. When I was younger, I think I used to ship Clay slightly more than Malik, but then I think once I got to the later books, I started shipping Malik more. And now Malik is my favorite ship in this world, but that's still one of my favorite lines. I obviously still ship Clace, and I still think Clace is very cute, but Malik is better. Well, I don't want to say better, but now Malik is my number one. Also, really unpopular opinion, but when I was younger and I read this, I didn't ship Sizzy at all. I don't know why. They didn't like disgust me or anything. Not at all. I just like didn't care one way or the other. But now I like love Sizzy. Like, I wouldn't say, I'm not like, oh my god, it's my favorite ship because that's Malik, but like I never really cared about the Sizzy scenes, and now I'm like, that's so cute. I don't know if it's because I'm older or because I know how it ends and like seeing the characters happy make me happy or what it is, but now that I'm older, I definitely appreciate Sizzy more than I did. Even in the TV show, everyone was like, I just want Sizzy, like when I was watching it live when it was like season 1, which would have been like, 2016, I didn't really care. Like I was like, it's Sizzy, cool, but I didn't care that much. But I've been rewatching it, and I'm watching season 3 for the first time. I've never seen season 3, and I'm like, oh my god, Sizzy, like it's so cute. Like now I'm actually like fangirling over it a little bit, so I don't know if that's just me being older, and seeing how good they are for each other. I think like now that I'm more mature, I'm like, I can see why they're so good together. I don't know, but that's just something that I think is interesting, because even reading this book now, like the like tiny Sizzy scenes that are in City of Glass, I'm like, oh, they're cute, you know? So I don't know what younger me's problem was, or who hurt younger me. I'm just kidding. But I thought that was interesting, reading it back. When Jocelyn is telling Clary the entire story of her life, basically, like literally telling her life story on the steps, reading that, I'm just like, oh my god, like I was so tempted to skip it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna skip it, because I know all this already, but also like it's just pages upon pages of just like explanation, which is just kind of not my jam. But anyways, so random thing that I did, sticky note in that, I just thought it was cute that Jocelyn says that like she used to like have Alec over like in Maris to play with Jonathan, and then like Jace's mother Celine used to come over when she was pregnant, and I just thought that was really cute, because it's like they all would have been friends regardless. Like if the whole Valentine thing never happened and everyone was happy, they all would have been friends anyways, which I think is so cute. Is like these people, they used to like play together when they were babies, and then they ended up finding each other anyways, and they would have found each other anyways. I just think that's cute. I'm like, aw, like Alec used to play with Jace when Jace was in the womb. I just think that's so cute. Like they were always meant to be parabatai. I just think that's really freaking adorable. I love the Jace and Alec parabatai relationship. I have to specify, I like it as a friendship. I'm a hardcore Malik shipper. It's Malik or death. Like Malik is all I want, but I do love Jace and Alec's brotherhood and their parabatai bond, because I think that is obviously just a very special relationship in this story. First of all, Izzy and Clary have so much beef in the books, and it gets just kind of exhausting. Like, I really, reading this again, I love how in the TV show they just didn't mess with all of that petty girl being jealous BS, because it's just like, I like girl power and girls, like supporting girls, and I like that they just skipped over all of the pettiness in these books, because I mean in the show versus in the books, because in the books Izzy and Clary do have a few moments where they're like friends, but they also have some like really petty moments. But I also see where Izzy's coming from, when she kind of like rips into Clary and she's like, I am just sick of you hurting my brother, like. And Clary is kind of out of line with accusing Izzy of not caring about Jace, because, like, she has known Jace longer than you. Jace is her family. Like, that's her brother. Clary was definitely out of line. You kind of can't say that. Like, I get that you care about Jace too, but you need to respect the fact that, like, his family is his family, you know what I mean? So I do think that Clary kind of deserved it when Izzy ripped into her and was like, that is my brother, and I care about him, and I've cared about him longer than you, and I'm sick of you hurting him. And honestly, if you cared about him, you would just, like, stop reopening the wound, which I kind of totally see where Izzy's coming from. And she's like, I hope that my family, she's like, I like you, but I kind of hope that my family moves far away from you. And I totally get where she's coming from. If you look at it, it's like, obviously she's like, I've seen Jace being hurt every time he's around Clary, because they all know how much Jace cared about Clary, and he thinks they're siblings, so he, like, it hurts him every time he sees her. And then she gets with Simon right away, this is what Izzy says. Then she gets with Simon right away, and he has to watch that, and, like, Izzy's never seen Jace really, like, love anyone but her, and it seems like she doesn't care, which, like, obviously from Clary's point of view, she didn't mean it that way at all, but I totally see where Izzy is coming from with that. And I also liked, though, how in that scene they're fighting, and she's, like, kind of ripping into her, and then Jocelyn walks in. Izzy doesn't know that that's her mother, obviously, but she sees that Clary's uncomfortable, and she immediately, like, steps in front of her to, like, protect her. And I'm like, I just think that's cute, because it's like, okay, like, even though you guys were just arguing, she's still willing to, like, protect you. So I like that scene. Also, Mark of Cain. I forgot that Clary is the one who gives Simon the Mark of Cain to protect him, because the Mark of Cain is kind of a curse more than anything else. I think it actually makes more sense in the TV show. Again, I don't know if this is what happens in the books, because I really do not remember City of Fallen Angels that well, but it makes a lot of sense in the TV show that the Seelie Queen gives the Mark of Cain to Simon because she knows that the Mark of Cain can banish Lilith. Totally makes more sense than Clary just giving it to Simon randomly to protect him against Raphael, you know? Like, I actually liked the way the TV show did that better than the way the books did that. Well, I forgot that when Valentine raises Raziel was, like, insulted. He's like, this is not what I want, bro. He kind of does say that in the TV show, where he's like, this isn't the wish of the angels, but in the book, he's way sassier. He's like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm giving the wish to Clary. Kind of the angel kills Valentine in the books, which I completely forgot. I thought Clary killed him, and Clary kills him in the TV show, so it, like, tracked in my mind, but in the books, Raziel kills him, which is way more poetic justice, low-key, because he did all this work to summon the angel, and then that is what kills him. And then he dies, like, kind of feeling betrayed, obviously, but yeah, I did not realize that the angel kills Valentine and Clary doesn't, which kind of tracks, because throughout the whole 3 books, it's like they had so many chances to kill Valentine and no one kills him. I'm just like, guys, come on, like, just kill him, bro. So I forgot about that. And then obviously Clary uses her wish to save Jace, and she's like, you could have anything in the world and you chose me. And she's like, I don't want anything else. I love that scene too, it's very iconic. Oh, I liked the epilogue at the end where they're kind of just all happy and, like, kind of drinking together and at the celebration party, and they're all dressed up nicely, and you see, like, kind of the couples together, and then you see Maris and Robert, like, meeting Magnus and, like, shaking his hand and stuff, and, like, actually seeming to accept it. Again, I don't know if that sticks in the later books, because I know this was supposed to be, like, the ending, and there is no cliffhanger at the end of this book, so you can tell that she meant to end it, which is kind of crazy, because there are also, like, little things in this book that she drops in there that she expands upon later, which is funny that she wasn't intending to expand on that. But I do like the ending scene where everyone's happy, and then I like the scene where Jocelyn finally goes after Luke, because that's, like, it was so rom-com-y, where, like, Clary's there and Amethyst, like, Luke's sister, is there, and they're both like, you love him, go get him. It's like, just throw an airport in there, it could have been a rom-com. And yeah, so I think that is pretty much all I have to say about this book. I might have forgotten something, because it has been a few days, so I don't know all of my, like, little points. It was just as good as I remember. honestly, all the books have been just as good as I remember. I haven't started the 4th one yet because I've been busy with birthday stuff and packing, but hopefully I will start the 4th one before I leave for school. If I don't, I'm going to bring it with me, obviously, and I'll continue to vlog that experience of reading it. I don't remember a lot. I remember Camille comes in. Well, Camille must come in the 4th book, which, first of all, we could have had a life Camille free. Like, I'm glad she continued the series, but also we could have not had Camille, and really all of our lives would have been better for it. I hate Camille so much, that character. Camille and Maureen, they both suck, dude. And they're both gonna come in the 4th book. And if I'm not mistaken, Camille is like the prologue, right? Because she's stirring trouble. I think she's like the first scene. Obviously, Simon has his mark of Cain, so that whole situation he's dealing with in the 4th book. I vividly remember the Clace Alley scene, if you catch my drift. The PG-13 Clace Alley scene, I remember that vividly. What else happens? I remember Jace is experiencing, I think this is when Jace is experiencing his, like, Jonathan trauma in the dreams where he's killing Clary. I know Jonathan, as a character, is back in City of Lost Souls, so I'm assuming the whole resurrection thing happens in City of Fallen Angels. I have no memory of the Jonathan resurrection with Lilith, but obviously I've been watching the TV show, and it happens in the TV show, and I am assuming it happens in the books because people talk about it like it happens in the books, and I don't know why I don't remember that. I just don't. Obviously I remember that they think he's dead and he comes back, but City of Fallen Angels is just a blur to me. Really, it's just the alley scene is all I remember from City of Fallen Angels. I know Jocelyn and Luke get married, and in one of the books, Clary is like going to dress fittings and stuff, but I don't know if that is City of Fallen Angels or not. I think it is, because I think Jace is kind of starting to go insane, even though he's really not. It's just like him being connected to Jonathan. But I can't remember if that happens in this book or if it happens in like City of Lost Souls before he goes with Jonathan. Or maybe he goes with Jonathan at the end of City of Fallen Angels, and that's like the cliffhanger. See, the problem is I can't remember for sure what happens, because I always think things happen later than they actually happen, and then I find out they happen earlier. So that's kind of my big problem with predicting this. What else? I have no memory of what Magnus, Alec, or Izzy are doing in this book. I'm assuming no, there's no Sizzy in this either, right? Because isn't he starting his thing with Maya, kind of? Because he's like, I remember at the end of City of Glass, they were like, oh, you pick one. I think he starts dating Maya in City of Fallen Angels, which kind of makes, I was going to say, why not Izzy, but Izzy's kind of not in the best place for that right now, so, yeah. Oh, so, it just came back to me. So Simon starts dating Maya, and then the Praetor, if that's how you say it, that organization comes in, brings Jordan in to watch after Simon. So it's the whole Simon-Jordan thing, and then the Maya-Jordan backstory, and then Simon's family, his mom finds out and kicks him out. Yeah, that came back to me. This is the book that Jordan is in. And then, because he has to live with Jordan, obviously. Oh, this has the mango in it. The random scene where Jace talks about mangoes and his fear of ducks. I remember this. Which, like, I forget why he's scared of ducks. And I'm pretty sure it's a hereditary Herondale duck fear. Because isn't Will scared of ducks, too? And I can't remember. I just remember he talks about mangoes. I can't remember. I think he likes mangoes. They're like his favorite fruit or something. This has a lot of Jaimin in it. Book 4 has a lot of Jason Simon. I do remember that. And I remember really liking those scenes because they finally like become buddies. So, but I don't remember what Alec's doing, which is really tragic, or what Magnus is doing. or what Izzy is doing. So I'll be interested to see what those three are up to, because I really do not remember what they're doing in this book, which is so weird because Alec is my favorite character. So me not knowing what he's up to is very strange. So I'll be very interested when I start this book. It's gonna be like a City of Ashes experience, where it's gonna feel like reading a new book, because I don't remember that much. It's like every other book. It's like City of Bones I remembered, City of Ashes I didn't, City of Glass I remembered, City of Fallen Angels I didn't. I remember a lot of City of Lost Souls, so I feel like that one will be fine. And then City of Heavenly Fire, I remember some of it, but I know there's stuff I forgot because it is a big book. So alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up down below. Be sure to subscribe for more content. See you guys with the next video where I read City of Fallen Angels. Bye.
Slowly kissing.